Was that
Look at how many reviews there is. Zoom in if you could, Rob. Does it show you or no?
562 user reviews?
No, that's not the one, Rob. It's if you go, there's 163,000 reviews, Rob. 163,000 reviews. I just texted it to you.
To the top right, maybe, Rob?
Right there. Zoom in right there. That's it. 163,000 rating, of which it got 1.6, not out of 5. Like, sometimes you go to McDonald's, it's 1.6 out of 5.
Yeah.
1.6 out of 10.
Disney just dropped a bombshell. Rachel Zegler is out. Multiple insiders now confirm the studio is cutting her loose after nonstop backlash over the Snow White reboot. What was supposed to be her fairy tale breakout has spiraled into a full-blown disaster. In the next few minutes, I'll break down the exact chain of events that nuked her Disney future, and the brutal behind-the-scenes talks that led to her being officially done.
1.6. Was that
look at how many reviews there is. Zoom in if you could, Rob. Does it show you or no?
562 user reviews?
No, that's not the one, Rob. It's if you go, there's 163,000 reviews, Rob. 163,000 reviews. I just texted it to you.
To the top right, maybe, Rob?
Right there. Zoom in right there. That's it. 163,000 rating, of which it got 1.6, not out of 5. Like, sometimes you go to McDonald's, it's 1.6 out of 5.
Yeah.
1.6 out of 10.
Vinny, you know what that is?
How bad is that?
You took a test. You got a 16 on it. it's like
those calculus.
How do you get a 16?
Yeah.
What are the most rated movies on IMDb? What are the worst rated movies on IMDb?
Probably Ishtar or something like that, going back.
Just a few years ago, Rachel was a regular high school kid posting singing clips online. Then, in a real-life Cinderella story, Steven Spielberg plucked her out of 30,000 hopefuls to star in West Side Story. She'd had no experience, but her audition reportedly left Spielberg speechless. A 17-year-old from Jersey suddenly beat out seasoned actresses for one of musical theater's biggest roles. The film dropped in 2021, critics raved, and Rachel took home a Golden Globe. Hollywood was buzzing. Disney took notice, fast. They needed a fresh, marketable face for their Snow White reboot. Rachel could sing, act, and had millions of loyal followers hanging on her every post. She even sold the humble star image, saying in 2019, "I'm just a small-town girl who got lucky." But behind the scenes? A different story. Sources from the West Side Story set say Rachel's attitude started shifting early on. She was talented, no doubt, one crew member said, but it felt like the fame hit way too fast. She started making demands that turned heads. Still, when Disney announced her as Snow White in 2021, reactions were mostly positive. She looked like the perfect fit, youthful, talented, and in touch with Gen Z. Rachel called it a dream come true. Disney thought they struck gold, but then the cracks showed. During press interviews, Rachel started going rogue, making off-script comments about the original Snow White that clashed with Disney's carefully polished image. Execs were rattled. Was this the right ambassador for their legacy princess? Insiders say Rachel's meteoric rise created an inflated ego that clashed with Disney's vision. When you go from student to Spielberg star to Disney royalty in under 3 years, a casting veteran said, you start thinking you know better than the people who built the brand. And that, according to those close to the matter, is exactly how Hollywood's golden girl lost her shine.
Who hates when I win? The winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Alex, what has been the reaction to Disney's latest expensive own goal?
Well, the reaction has been absolutely horrible. It is the worst box office from a Disney live action remake that they've ever done. And Dumbo didn't do very well, but this is actually performing much lower than Dumbo. And this couldn't happen to a better person, in my opinion. Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim. And that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad, considering she's a multi-millionaire actress living out every struggling actress's or actor's dream. And she just kind of, hand waves it like she's still some sort of victim, when in reality, she should be a movie star. She should be happy. She should be, apolitical, positive, but she's not that way. She loves Kamala Harris. She was, as woke as they are. And, the saying, go woke, get broke. And Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China, which is a huge indication that it will not do well globally.
When merchandise partners start backing out, Disney doesn't play defense. They go to war. Insiders reveal a string of high-level emergency meetings dubbed the Rachel Zegler problem. Social media data showed rising backlash, not fading, but surging. Sentiment was so toxic, it rivaled major celebrity scandals. Inside Disney's boardroom, creatives wanted to stand by her, but marketing and finance brought brutal numbers, projected losses in the hundreds of millions. Even CEO Bob Iger, who rarely touches casting issues, started demanding daily briefings. Disney quietly tested promotional materials, some with Rachel, some without. The results? Dismal for Zegler. Audiences preferred anything but her. Worse, retailers slashed orders for Snow White merch by 60%. That was the death blow. In a final closed-door meeting, Disney's top execs made it official. Wrap Snow White, then cut her loose.
I think there's a common theme here. I think the Democratic Party and Disney are attached at the hip. So I think there's a common thread with approval ratings and the stock price of what's happened with the Democratic Party and with Disney. You know the famous phrase, go woke, go broke? Right now, Disney, their big blockbuster movie has plummeted, much like the Democratic approval ratings that reached, I think, an all-time low at 27%? So, they say that numbers talk, BS walks, words talk, numbers scream. People are screaming, Disney, get it together. Who is the Disney's customer? You talk about this all the time, Pat. It's families and it's parents who are paying for their kids to go to movies or go to theme parks or buy products. And you have parents looking at Disney being like, what are you doing, guys? This is supposed to be a place where magic happens. And all you're doing is indoctrinating kids. And you're having this person be the poster child of the Democratic Party. She is basically the AOC of Disney. And if you want to, or the Jasmine Crockett of Disney. I know we want to talk about her today, but if you want to look at why the Democratic Party has reached all-time lows, look no further than what Disney is doing with their woke, DEI, feminist agenda.
Disney isn't just cutting Rachel Zegler loose. They're erasing her. Behind the PR smiles, insiders say the studio has launched a calculated Zegler exit strategy. A quiet, legal-friendly removal from all future plans. Step 1. She's already been dropped from upcoming projects. Roles once linked to her have mysteriously gone cold. Step 2. Minimize her without breaching contracts. Early promos pushed Rachel front and center. Now, posters shrink her face behind effects and magic. Interviews have been slashed. Group settings only. Her screen time controlled. Even the premiere is being reshaped to spotlight Disney's legacy, not its lead. Most revealing? The marketing pivot. A new kind of princess has been scrapped. The new tagline, experience the magic of a timeless story. Translation, it's about Snow White, not Zegler. Disney's even tailoring materials by region. Standard promos where backlash is low, alternate versions elsewhere. The message is clear. Rachel Zegler is no longer the face of this fairy tale.
Right there, go to 197. The market cap at that time was roughly a $400 billion company.
Yeah.
Give or take a $380 billion company, $370 billion company. You know what it is today? A $181 billion company.
Yeah.
They've lost $200 billion in the last 4 years, Vinny.
Jeez.
$200 billion
$100 billion
in the last 4 years.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
$200 billion.
And by the way, $200 billion. Yeah, and they have solid PE ratios, 32 point time. How good of a PE ratio is 32.66?
That's still pretty strong.
That's
for
still
media.
pretty strong. So, meaning they could,
I mean,
for
there's
media,
room to fall.
there are a lot of room to.
Disney may be cutting ties, but Hollywood is cutting her off. As Disney scrambles to bury Rachel Zegler in its marketing, studios across town are quietly doing the same. She's radioactive right now, says one veteran casting director. Her off-script comments trashing Snow White and other classics had made her a red flag for major projects. No one wants to cast someone who might turn against the material mid-press tour. Sources confirm Zegler has been dropped from key roles at Warner Bros., Universal, and Paramount, including 2 major films that were practically hers. One was a lead in a big-budget musical, The other? A role in a major franchise that could have launched her into elite territory. Her team is now in full crisis mode. Top-tier PR fixers have been brought in, hoping to re-app her image with small indie roles and scripted interviews. But the damage might already be done. Behind the scenes, her downfall has become a cautionary tale. Agents are warning new talent, don't pull a Zegler. And then came the final blow. Disney execs reportedly uncovered old posts where Zegler mocked not just Snow White, but The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and The Lion King, calling them outdated and problematic. One insider summed it up, trash-talking Snow White was bad, but trashing the entire Disney legacy? That's what sealed her fate.